The Federal Reserve System, it represents the U.S. Treasury and the 12 dirty dozen banks. So there's only 125 people that make up the Federal Reserve System. The Fed is theirs, but it could be ours. The Fed is theirs. It's not democratically elected. It's for monetary policy. I mean, it's for the big bankers, international traders, the money changers, the same assholes that Jesus threw out of the temple. On side note about AOC's vote on Wall Street bailout, when they said the voice vote, they said all in favor, aye, all those opposed, no. Very clearly you heard Thomas Massey's voice, and that's all, really. I couldn't even hear if there was like maybe somebody else that said no in unison, right next to him. But I couldn't hear anybody else. I mean, still inclined to believe AOC, but there's no official record, and that's the entire point of having an official roll call vote. Which side were you on? The biggest spending bill ever in all of human history, and we didn't even record what our representatives thought or what they voted on it? These are our representatives in our democracy. This is the level of accountability that we are going to be okay with. There's no official record. How did your representative vote? Scott Tipton voted in favor of it, guaranteed, right? If AOC may or may not have, then the whole fucking country voted for it, right? Your stupid-ass fucking representative voted for this, and we've given up the dollar. We've given up the financial, system. We've given the financial system over to them. It's more rigged than what it was before. So this makes me think of Thomas Massey's quote when he is in Congress, and he said, I object. I object to this vote. I don't want the republic to die by unanimous consent in an empty chamber. Nobody's here, but unanimous consent. Let's fuck the whole country over. Then Thomas Massey claimed they didn't have a quorum, and eventually they got one, overruled them, and passed the bill anyway. So the Fed is theirs, but it could be ours. British corporate media, The Sun, reports that America financed the Wuhan Institute of Virology. So Wuhan, that's the city where, this virus came from. It either comes from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, or it just, was found in the forest jungle somewhere, bats or some shit, right? So the U.S. government helped to finance suspected coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 Kung flu virus-making factory, the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Virology. We gave them $4 million. The U.S. government gave this Wuhan Institute of creating, coronavirus diseases $4 million. In April 2018, there was a research paper that was titled Fatal Swine Acute Diarrhea Syndrome Caused by an HKU2 Related Coronavirus of Bat Origin. So they're studying coronaviruses, had a research paper on this. So yeah, the U.S. government helped finance this Wuhan Institute of Virology. That's the only information I know, so I'm not going to, speculate, but I will, I will kind of speculate, because it seems like this would feed into the narrative of what? Conspiracy? Our own government did this. Their government did this. This was to bring the nation to its knees. Is this biological warfare? Is it not even, the idea of it being 5G? What damage does 5G? 5G is like a whole nother level, right? They're using the energy of the earth. Somebody said, well, 4G, it doesn't hurt nor microwaves. Are you sure? Are you sure about that? So, where did it come from? What's really going on? I don't know. I keep an open mind. As a scientist, that's to change a person's mind, all you need is evidence. And I don't know enough about, they said there's no such thing as viruses. Viruses are actually like the cell kind of like being diseased and spit like radiation, they're radiated and they're kind of throwing out the crap. And so a virus is just a cell, basically taking a crap or taking a weird crap that they don't usually normally take. So apparently pangolins and not snakes may be the missing link between horseshoe bats and humans. So SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus Kung flu, it's zoonotic. It's zoonotic, so that means it can pass from human to animals and animal to humans. Pangolins are scaly anteaters. They're the only known mammal with scales, and they're found in Africa and Asia. Now, SARS-1 started with bats and the masked palm civet. That was the intermediate host before humans got it. So the dromedary camel was the intermediate host for the 2012 outbreak of MERS. So for SARS-1 and 2, I'm not for sure about MERS. MERS, they're all coronaviruses. I don't know if they all started out with bats, but fuck, bats, man. So bats, the intermediate host for SARS-1 was the masked palm civet. And what the fuck is a masked palm civet? I don't know, but it's C-I-V-E-T. Google it. Masked palm civet. So the one for SARS-2 for the coronavirus now today, that was, these goddamn anteaters, these pangolins, these scaly anteaters. So apparently bats and anteaters were hanging out, and then humans and anteaters were hanging out. So I don't know how many people, want to hang out with a scaly anteater during the day, or a masked palm civet, or a bat, but bats. Should we be scared of bats? They're carrying all these diseases and shit. No, don't they, eat the fruit flies? Are bats good? I don't know. But, yeah, so that's, 3.5 million, nearly $4 million. So is there a connection? Is it CIA? Is it biological warfare? So I am speculating just because, what's the most logical official explanation, and what's the most logical alternative explanation? So the most logical official explanation would be somebody ate a bat, or that the poison center, it got out, right? They didn't intentionally do it, but one of their test, doctors, somebody coughed on somebody, and so it slowly seeped out. That would be the most logical official explanation. The most logical alternative explanation, I don't know too much about biology to know if the virus thing works or doesn't work. I know that there's cells and they create proteins, and there's mRNA, there's RNA, DNA, mRNA. So I don't know enough biology to be able to say whether or not viruses are actually what we think of, sort of being just like germs, like some, this virus, like a parasite just taking over cells, just a virus that just take a cell, sucks it dry, kills it, jumps up, when that cell dies, passes that shit along to all the other cells, and it just keeps on going. So, because somebody said that 5G, there's a big 5G network in Wuhan, too. So, the most plausible alternative explanation, I don't know. I don't know what the most plausible one would be. There's, several theories that would be out there. I don't know enough about 5G to say that it's actually that dangerous. So, yeah, it could be all these radio waves and shit going through the air. That can't be good. Manipulating, what, the electromagnetic field? Is that what we're doing? We're manipulating Earth's electromagnetic field, and people are saying that a lot of the symptoms look like it's just radiation, so it's just this, radio waves are just kind of fucking with people. I don't know. What's the most, I'm going to sit here and think for a second. What's the most logical alternative explanation for what? For that the disease just happened to, get spread? If, I would say the most logical explanation, the most, for the alternative would be that, China did this intentionally to infect the world, but they were honest and open, pretty much up front with a lot of shit, kind of jumped on it right away. They're putting, pool nets over people's heads and shit. So people were fucking cracking down on coronavirus over there. They're secretive. When you like some whistleblowers coming out of China, you'd like to know the fucking truth, right? Can you trust the damn government? No. So if there are some fucking whistleblowers, there's a couple people coming out saying that basically, there's a big cover-up. So, Iran, people fuck up, people make mistakes. I think they would cover up a mistake as well as an intentional thing. But as I'm thinking of that, it's possible that they, are starting biological warfare and infecting their own citizens by, that makes it look like, they hit themselves first, so clearly they couldn't, so what a perfect cover. Or, the Spanish flu, we call it the Spanish flu, but it started in America, a U.S. soldier in Kansas, I think, or some guy in Kansas had it, and spread it all over the fucking place. And so the Spanish flu was started by America. So is it possible that America, we put $3.7 million into it? Is it an intentional thing? Is it possible that, the United States government was starting biological warfare? That actually seems more plausible to me than China attacking their own people and spreading all over the world. It seems like it'd be more likely, maybe if not America or any of their, enemies or competitors around the world, maybe Russia or Mongolia. They've been just sitting up there, perched on top of China, just waiting for their moment. And so they went ahead and, went into this Wuhan Institute of Virology and stole a bunch of beakers and broke a bunch and then threw it all over the town, and now people got, coronavirus. So, if there is a conspiracy, that one seems to be the most likely, that Mongolia went into the Wuhan Institute of Virology to spread this coronavirus to make China look bad. And so I think that's actually, so that is kind of ridiculous, but, so yeah, I'm going to believe, it's biology and it's viruses and the proteins and all that shit, so it seems like the official version wins out on that. But for the Federal Reserve, the Fed was not made for you and me. Yeah, the Fed, we made a central bank for America and to control the monetary policy, to stop Wall Street and to put a check on the banks and to help American people. But it was written by the bankers. And the American people aren't part of the Federal Reserve System whatsoever. $4.5 trillion goes to the foreign banks, goes to the wealthy. So the 1%, the 10%, the foreign bankers, that's who's going to be, most, $1,200, ooh, got $1,200, it's going to go quick, okay? So talk to me about $1,200 in a month, in a month from now. Let's see how you did with that $1,200. Did you invest in gold? Did you, invest in land? Did you do some long-term investments? Or did you go blow it on a bunch of, weed and now you're fucking broke again? I just think $1,200 overall is just a very cheap fucking price to sell your entire financial system out. How much for your entire financial system? $1,200. Done. How much for all your rights and freedoms? $1,300. Done and done. Here you go. Here's a check. Now, get out in that fucking farm collective and start cutting some hay and harvesting some fruit and vegetables. 11:29, John Masters, Southern Colorado, Monday, April 13, 2020, in the a.m., just before noon on a Monday. Sounds like somebody's got cases of Mondays. April 13th. 4/13/2020 brings back memories of when I was talking about AOC and how possibly the U.S. government sabotaged. Anyways, all right. Peace.